Hey everyone, my name's Gabrielle. I'm from the UK. I'm originally from the north, as you can probably tell by my accent. I wanted to come on here and give you an honest account of my experience with my breast implants for the last 10 years plus and why I decided to get them removed. But I just want to share some information that I really wish I'd known before I got breast implants. So if you've got breast implants in now, considering getting them out, but you can't quite pluck up the courage, which was my situation for the last 4 years. So if that's you, I just want to be here to provide some hope and inspire you that you can do it and it could be the best decision you've ever made. Or if you're considering getting implants if you're considering getting breast implant surgery and having implants, I just want to give you my honest account of my experience with the breast implants and the downsides of having implants that I think people should definitely be clued up about and consider before getting them. So then at least when you go into the surgery, you've got all the facts and you know what could potentially go wrong, and later down the line when you've had them for so many years, you're not going to get any nasty surprises or shocks. So I got my implants, I think I was about 22, 23, and I'm now 33, nearly 34. I think I got them in 2012, so it's been just over 10 years, or it was 11 years. I can't exactly remember. I got them when I was at uni. The reason that I got them, I wasn't even super conscious of my boobs. That's the really frustrating and sad thing about my story. At the time, I didn't hate my boobs. They were on the small side. I just made the impulsive decision to get breast implants. My cousin had recently had a breast implant surgery. I was in a job where I knew that I could pay for them on a credit card and get that paid off quite quick. And I think, to be honest, I just thought it was something cool to do. Probably like wanted the attention. I just feel like I really didn't take that decision as seriously as I should. I think I was really flippant about it, and literally I could just kick myself now. That's why I'd always say with cosmetic surgery, if you're young, like early 20s or a teenager, I'd say wait until you're older, until you're like 25 or older, because you can really change your mind about having surgery and really regret it. I had my surgery in Nottingham with a doctor called Stephen McCulley. My surgery, I think it was about £6,750. And at the time, I was given the option of having the Allergen natural teardrop 285cc implants. Oh, these were the textured ones. The surface of the implant was textured, and the reason for it being textured meant that it stops the implants from rotating in your body, and it was meant to lessen your chance of getting capsular contracture, which I'll talk about in a bit. I was told they were the safest implants on the market. One thing I would say as well, that's like my top tip if you're considering getting breast implants, I really researched my surgeon. So I went to a top surgeon in the UK and he did a fantastic job, but I didn't research what was going into my body. So I didn't research the implants. And at that time, if I'd have researched those particular implants, I would have found some things that would have definitely stopped me from getting them. So that is my number one tip. If you're considering getting breast implants, don't just research the surgeon. Whatever products he offers you, whatever type of implants, whether it's Allergen or Mentor or whatever, research the product that is going to be put into your body, because that is super, super important, because that product is potentially going to be sitting inside your body for 10 years plus. So once the implants were put in, the results, I was super happy with the results. They looked amazing. I had zero complications. My scars were great. Then I can remember about 5 years in, I was living in Melbourne. And I was at the gym and after my workout, I started to get like a burning pain and a bit of a stabbing pain in my left breast. I ignored it for a while because I thought it was muscular. I just thought it was from working out. I flew to Sydney and went to this specialised breast clinic to get my implants checked out. And they took some photos of me and they did a scan. They did an ultrasound scan. And when the lady took a picture of my boobs, I saw the picture on the side and I can remember thinking, oh my God, my boobs look wonky. Like, I'd never noticed it when I looked in the mirror before, but like my nipples were like, they just looked really wonky. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on there? And then, yeah, that's when she basically told me that I had, I think it was level 2 capsular contracture. So capsular contracture is when the implants put in, your body literally freaks out and it wants to protect you from that foreign body. What you've put into your body is unknown, it's not natural, and so your body's defense mechanism is to contain that foreign object. So what it does, it creates a capsule of scar tissue around the implant to encase it and stop whatever's contained in the implant from getting into your body. But with capsular contracture, I think it's a bacteria gets into the scar tissue that causes the scar tissue to contract the implant. So it squeezes the implant, and as it squeezes the implant, your implant gets pulled up, hence why my boobs look wonky. So I had level 2 capsular contracture. It goes from 1 to level 4. Level 4 is like really severe, like literally some ladies, they have it that bad that their boobs are up here. Their boobs are like square, completely deformed. Mine was quite mild. It was a level 2. You could just about see a difference physically, but I also had the burning and stabbing pain in my boob. I think for me, when I developed that burning and stabbing pain, I think any pain in your body is a sign that something's not right. That was the first time that my body was telling me, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with having this object inside me. This needs to come out. With my prognosis of having a level 2, it's very much, you don't have to get surgery. Like if it was a level 4 and my boobs were completely disfigured, they'd probably recommend to have surgery. But at a level 2, stage 2 capsular contracture, you can just leave it. As long as it's not causing you too much pain, they advise that you can leave it. I feel like the unevenness of my boobs did get a bit gradually worse, but still not terrible. Basically, this boob just set higher than this one. It wasn't like super noticeable, but I could notice it. And I just thought my boobs weren't like this before, they were even. So I was a bit peed off, to be honest. Whilst I was researching online about capsular contracture, I can't remember how, but I stumbled upon a Facebook group. The Facebook group is called ALCL in women with breast implants, BIA ALCL. This is the Facebook group here. And in this group, there was ladies who had been diagnosed with cancer caused by their breast implants. And on this group, to my shock, they were saying that textured implants were specifically associated with this ALCL cancer. And I can remember I was just completely shocked. Like, I just felt sick to my stomach, to be honest. Not only did I have this capsular contracture, I now have these implants in my body that are giving women cancer, and some women on this group had actually died from the cancer. Health experts, their consensus was to watch and wait. So basically, if you had these textured implants in, if you had the allergen implants in, and you didn't have any symptoms, the consensus was to watch and wait. So carry on, be vigilant, be observant for any symptoms that may occur. One of the main symptoms of this cancer is for the breast to swell and to really like blow up in size with fluid. Again, a sign that your body's not happy with what you've put inside. My boob hadn't swelled up, but I did have this pain that I thought was the capsular contracture. But then when I was doing my research, people were also saying that they'd been diagnosed with capsular contracture, then it had turned out to be this cancer. At this point, the worry was starting to set in. To be honest, the consensus of watch and wait, I feel like the people saying this to watch and wait are doctors or these people high up in these companies, like maybe people high up in Allergen, like the CEO of Allergen, they don't have these products in their bodies. I feel like the mental distress of having an implant in your body, you've paid thousands of pounds for it, and then you find out that it could potentially give you cancer and it's actually killed women. Dealing with that mentally shouldn't be underestimated. I was pretty upset that I was in this situation where just from time to time it would just crop up in my mind that I had this product. Actually, anyway, the allergen implants, they actually got banned worldwide. So I think all textured implants have been banned now. So then I heard about the ban and it was actually on television. It was on the news. I think it's a good thing that they were banned, but again, that added to my worry. Like, I've now got implants in that have been banned worldwide. I felt really worried. I felt concerned for my health. And at this point I was thinking, I think I should be considering getting these implants out. It doesn't feel right for me to just watch and wait till I get this cancer. And then once I've got the symptoms of the cancer and I've got it, then do something about it. Like, logically, that just doesn't seem right. In my head, I'm like, no, I need to get them out now. Another group that I ended up stumbling across was the Breast Implant Illness and Healing by Nicole. This is the group there. Basically, in this group, there's thousands of women now worldwide that are getting their breast implants taken out because they believe they've got breast implant illness. Breast implant illness is basically a list of symptoms that women are reporting that are associated with having the breast implants put in and developing a foreign body reaction. The sorts of symptoms that these women are reporting are like joint pains, muscle pains, rashes, stomach problems, stress, anxiety, depression, hair loss. There's a massive list of about 40 symptoms. When I looked on that list, I thought, yeah, I've definitely got some of these symptoms, like anxiety, depression. My hair was thinning, and there was a few other symptoms that I thought I had. But to be honest, I already had those symptoms before I had the implants put in. On that group as well, like, ladies were saying that they had developed autoimmune diseases, and they said that when they had their breast implants taken out, that the autoimmune diseases disappeared. Not in all cases, but in some cases, these ladies, they've had terrible chronic symptoms, like terrible rashes, awful autoimmune diseases, severe hair loss, loads of stuff like this. And they've had the breast explant surgery and these symptoms have completely resolved. But in some ladies, the symptoms haven't completely resolved. So at this point, I just feel like the reasons to get my breast implants removed were mounting up. I was just discovering more and more negatives associated with breast implants and stuff that could impact my health. And my gut was telling me, Gabrielle, get the breast implants out. But it actually took me 4 years to pluck up the courage to get them out. And I wish I'd just had them out straight away. But obviously, life doesn't always work out like that. But as well as the cancers associated with implants and the breast implant illness, there was a few other reasons why I decided to get them out. So I'll just go through the reasons in more detail now. So like I said, my number one reason to get them out was that breast implants are now associated with cancer. They've actually been linked to 3 types of cancer. So not just the BIA ALCL, but also another 2 types. So the 3 types of cancers associated with breast implants, I'll just read them out from my phone because they're quite a tongue twister, so I can't remember them off the top of my head. So there's BIA ALCL, and that's breast implant associated anaplastic large cell lymphoma. Then there's BIA DL-BCL, which is breast implant associated diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. And then the 3rd type is BIA SCC, which is breast implant associated squamous cell sarcoma. I think that's how you pronounce that last word. Sorry if it's not. So the first one, the BIA ALCL, that's at the minute, that's just associated with textured implants. So the implants that I had in, which were banned. But the second and third type, the B-cell lymphoma and the SCC, those two types of cancers, it's been found that they're associated with all breast implants. So whether they're silicone, whether they're saline, whether they're textured or whether they're smooth. I do need to say at the minute, these cancers associated with breast implants are considered rare. The first one, the ALCL, that's actually moved up a level from rare to emerging as the cases are increasing. The second type, the B-cell lymphoma, and the third type, the SCC, they are classed as rare, and I'll tell you now some stats on how many cases there are. So the BIA ALCL, the first type, there's 1,400 cases reported worldwide, and there's been 59 deaths at least. Those were the most current figures that I could find. The second type, the B-cell lymphoma, there's been 28 cases worldwide. I'm not sure how many deaths. And then the third type, the SCC, there's been 19 cases worldwide. So the first type, the BIA ALCL, that's associated with textured implants, they did say initially your chances of getting that cancer was like 1 in 30,000, but over the years, as I've researched, that's now dropped down. One stat that I saw was 1 in 100. Some people say 1 in 300. There's actually a world conference every year where doctors from all over the world that are researching this cancer come together to discuss it and discuss case numbers and treatment options. One of the reasons as well for having the conference is that still to this day, they are not 100% sure how this cancer occurs from the breast implant. But one of the main things that I've found in the literature is the presence of chronic inflammation. As with all diseases in the body, it usually starts off with chronic inflammation. For example, if you smoke, the smoke that goes down your throat, it causes chronic inflammation in your throat, your mouth, your lungs, and hence people end up with lung cancer, throat cancer, whatever. Having the breast implants in your body causes chronic inflammation, and once you have them put in, that sets something off in your body. It sets off reaction in your body. When I had my breast implants taken out, I had them tested, and on the report it says chronic inflammation. All the ladies that have their breast implants taken out on the group, they also share their results from the pathology report, and it always says presence of chronic inflammation and something called a giant cell reaction. Once you have those implants put in, even if you don't develop capsular contracture, you've not got any issues, your body never stops fighting those implants. Hence, when you have them out, there's still signs of chronic inflammation. Your body is constantly fighting those implants. And my thinking was, if my immune system is constantly fighting those implants, if I develop another disease or I get ill, does that mean that my body, like my immune system, isn't operating at 100% efficiency because it's also fighting the breast implants? I want my body to be operating at an optimum level of health, and in my gut, I truly feel that with the breast implants in, that wasn't possible. So the second type, the B-cell lymphoma, and the BIA SCC, the third type, they're classed as rare. That doesn't take away from the fact that I've paid £6,750 and now you're telling me that I can potentially get a cancer and die. Like, even if it's rare, I would never have handed over that amount of money and put myself through that surgery if I knew there was a chance that I could get one of these cancers. I'm not being funny, I don't think there should be any deaths associated with breast implants giving people cancer. One death is too much. Also, even though these cancers are classed as rare, they have very invasive property, which means they have characteristics that make them highly likely to spread to other tissues, bones, muscles, etc. in the body. I'll just read out some of the quotes from the research that I've found. So it says here about ALCL. The etiology of BIA ALCL is unknown, but likely triggered by chronic inflammation. Implant texturization is indisputably a driver. So that's for the first type of cancer. Regarding the second type, it says the presence of long-standing chronic inflammation associated with an indwelling implant may result in proliferation of transformed B cells. Then regarding the third type of cancer, the SCC. SCC is a rare but aggressive malignancy and originates from the breast implant capsule. And then regarding the survivability rates, for the first type, ALCL, is reported as 94% at 3 years and 91% at 5 years respectively. So that's a pretty good survivability rate. But then for the third type, the SCC, it says the overall prognosis for BIA SCC is grim, with a 6-month mortality rate of 43.8%. Surgeons should be aggressive and should not hesitate to resect chest wall or axillary contents if there is a suspicion for invasive malignancy. This is of utmost importance when treating BIA SCC, as incomplete resection is associated with aggressive recurrence and increased mortality. Literally, when I'm reading that, I just feel sick to my stomach. And for me, I know they're saying it's rare, and I know they're saying to watch and wait. But again, like I said, these people who are saying this, they don't have this in their body. They don't have to live every day with these implants in their body that can cause all this absolute horrible shit. And I know it's classed as rare, but for me, when I read that, my gut is just saying, Gabrielle, just get them out. Like, this isn't right. It is classed as rare at the minute, but if you develop some of these cancers, they're aggressive, they've got invasive properties. Like, this is serious. Like, these are like really bad cancers. And obviously all cancers are bad, but to be so aggressive, like, I just don't even want to risk that. Like, I don't want to have that in my life. I don't want to even have to consider that I have paid this money, thousands of pounds, to try and improve my appearance, and then through vanity I've ended up contracting this rare form of cancer, and I'm potentially going to die from it, or I have to have chemotherapy or whatever else. All this just didn't sit right with me. So that was my number one driver for getting these implants out. My gut was just screaming at me, Gabrielle, just get these out, just be done with it and put your health first. Also, the FDA has actually issued a black box warning about implants. So now anyone who signs up to implants has to read, well, I hope they've got to read that black box warning, and also there's a checklist that they have to go through. So the FDA, I think it stands for the Food and Drugs Administration, and they're an organization, they're based in America, and basically they approve all food products, pharmaceutical products that go onto the market. They will approve breast implants as well. Like, any company that develops breast implants, they will have to get those implants approved by the FDA in order for those to be sold to patients. So for the FDA to come up with this black box warning, like, I mean, it just shows the seriousness of the situation, but yet they're still being sold to patients because it's classed as rare. I will say as well, I went for 2 consultations before getting my breast implants taken out. The 2 consultations I had were with the same doctor, with the same surgeon. He told me to leave the implants in. One of his reasonings for keeping the breast implants in was that he tried to compare my chances of getting these cancers to chances of getting other cancers. So for example, with the first type of cancer, the ALCL, you might have a 1 in 100 chance of getting that cancer, but your chance of getting breast cancer, I think it's 1 in 4. So he was trying to put it in perspective like that. Or he said that your chance of walking out here and getting in a car accident, that's like really high. I think car accidents are like the #1 cause of deaths or something in the UK. Maybe it's not the #1 cause, but it's very high up on the list. So I think he was trying to put things into perspective for me. But at the same time, yet again, it's okay him saying that he has not got this product in his body. He does not have to live with this every day. And when I'm reading stuff like this, when I'm speaking to these ladies on these groups who've been diagnosed with this cancer, who are going through this treatment, it just didn't sit right with me at all. My second reason for getting the breast implants taken out was, like I said, I'd heard about BII, which is breast implant illness, which is that list of 40 symptoms that women are reporting that are associated with getting the implants put in and having a foreign body reaction. So symptoms like chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, joint pain, dry eyes, digestive issues, rashes on the body. Out of that list, I'd say that I had depression, I had anxiety, I developed rashes as well. So at the time, it was about 3 years ago, and it was about, I think it was 2020, it was about around the time that COVID started. I developed a ringworm rash in my groin. And I know ringworm sounds really gross, but it's just basically a bacterial infection of the skin. I'd never had that before, but it was chronic, it was constant. I used to put fungal cream on it. I can't remember what the cream's called now, like hydrocortisone cream. I used to put that on it, it'd go away for a while and then it'd come back. So that was pretty annoying. I'd been to the optician, they said that I had dry eyes, but I wear contact lenses nearly every day of the year. So contact lenses are associated with dry eyes. My depression and anxiety, I had that since I was a teenager. So again, I couldn't put that down to my implants. Another symptom of this BII is autoimmune diseases. I don't have any autoimmune diseases, touch wood. That's something that I do not want to develop in the future. Another symptom is thinning hair. I've got thin hair, but I had thin hair before I put my implants in, and it's just stayed the same. Like the thinness of my hair, it's not got any thinner. But my thoughts around this were that, #1, if breast implant illness is a thing, and I think it is for some people, I don't want to risk getting that. I don't want an autoimmune disease. But #2, if breast implants have the ability to cause cancer and kill you, what else are they doing to my body? What other subtle little things are they doing to my body? Stuff that I can't even see because it's inside my body. What other systems are these breast implants and the presence of having them in my body and the toxins in the breast implants? What systems are they meddling with? Could be knocking my health off in certain ways, and again, not allowing me to have my body operating at its optimum level of health. So that was my second reason for having the breast implants out. So breast implant illness and thinking about how else the breast implants could be affecting my body. The third reason I wanted my breast implants out is because the longer you have them in, the higher the chance of rupture. When they rupture, they can leak silicone into your body. But also, the longer you have them in, the implants are degrading year by year in your body. So silicone particles, even if it's not a full-on rupture and all the silicone comes out, silicone particles can start breaking off and seeping into your body. They can get into your lymph nodes under your armpits, and if the silicone gets in there, the doctors will not take it out. They won't take it out because there's a risk of you developing, I think it's lymphedema. I'm not quite sure of how to pronounce that word. But lymphedema, and basically like your arms, your limbs can swell up. So they'll leave that silicone in your lymph nodes and it won't go anywhere. It'll just be in there forever. Your body can't break it down. I don't want that in my body. Like, I don't want silicone plastic in my lymph nodes. Like, your lymphatic system is such a critical and essential system within your body, and it's all interconnected. I don't want that. But I think, do you know what's crazy about that? Like, I'm so concerned about having that plastic in my lymph nodes, but at the same time, I had 2 lumps of plastic on my chest. And literally when you have the implants in, if you have them behind the muscle like I did, I had dual planes, so they were half behind the muscle and half in front. Those implants are sat on your rib cage. Like when my surgeon took out my implants, he has got to scrape them off my rib cage. I've got 2 lumps of plastic sat on my rib cage, and yet I'm worried about little fragments breaking off and going into my lymph nodes. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I don't want any plastic in my body. That was the third reason for me to have them taken out. I just didn't want any plastic in my body. I just don't think it's natural, and I just don't think my body appreciates it. The fourth, and I think it's the final reason why I wanted my implants taken out, is because I felt like I was trapped. Had them, I was feeling great, I was loving the results, but then I got my capsular contracture, got this pain, then I found out my implants were banned. I had the ones that were associated with cancer. Even though I knew all this stuff, I felt trapped. I was used to my body looking a certain way with implants. I had these implants in for 10 years. I liked the way they looked. They made me feel good about myself. They made me feel sexy. Felt like I can't get these taken out. Like, I just can't get them taken out. Like, what am I gonna look like? I'll look ugly. Like, maybe I'll be deformed. I'll have big scars. But then I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna have to keep them in, but I'm actually worried about my health if I keep them in. And that means like every 10 to 15, I think it's like every 10 years or 10 to 15 years, you need to get them replaced. So then I'm thinking, oh, but every 10 to 15 years, I'm gonna have to undergo this major surgery. And that's the thing, sometimes I think with implant surgery, it's marketed as a thing, it's just so easy, you go in, pop the implants in, you're done and dusted, but it's actually like a serious surgery. I don't want to put my body through a serious surgery every 10 to 15 years. Like when I was younger and I had them put in, I wasn't really worried about the surgery, and I was just so flippant and nonchalant about it. I just didn't care. But as I'm getting older, you understand like the risks of surgery, and also like having to recover from that surgery. Like I'm really into going to the gym and having to take time off the gym and stuff like that. I don't want to go through this cycle. Like I don't want to know that in the next 10 years I've got to put myself through this surgery, and not only that, I've got to pay out thousands of pounds, like at least £6,000 to get these implants replaced. I'm just done with it. It feels like a trap. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want more surgeries. I didn't want to pay more money. I didn't want to have to keep on worrying about, I'll have new implants put in. Oh, these ones are the safest ones now. These are the safest on the market. Years down the line, oh, actually, there's some bad shit come out about these implants. Because there's women who literally, they had one set of implants and they were associated with the PIP scandal. I don't know if you heard of this, but basically those implants, it got found out that these implants were made of, I think they were made of mattress filler, something like this. They had something in it to do with mattresses. It's so bad. And then these ladies have had their implants replaced. They've been given the allergen ones. Oh, these are the safest on the market. And then boom, oh, actually, these ones give you cancer. There's ladies who've been through this cycle multiple times. This whole situation, this trap, it's just a drainer. I felt like it was draining the life out of me. And I just didn't want to think about it anymore. I just did not want it in my life, like at all. So you probably think, now that I'd learned that my implants were banned, they're associated with 3 types of cancer, they could give me breast implant illness, autoimmune diseases, I don't want to go through more surgeries, I don't want to pay more money. You'd think at that point 4 years ago, I'd have been like, right, sign me up, get these babies out, I'm done. Because literally, I was so scared of what I'd look like physically that I just put it off and off. And even though I heard about this cancer and, do you know what I mean, they said it was rare or emerging, you always think you're special and you think, oh, it won't happen to me. Or with me, I just think, oh, I'm overreacting. I'm a worrier. Like, just don't worry about this, Gabrielle. Like, you'll be fine. Just watch and wait. Like, it won't happen to you. You'll be able to sail through life, keep getting implants, and no bad shit will happen to you. But then there's this other voice, my gut, that's telling me, no, Gabrielle, you need to get these out. Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, like, you're risking your health for this. You're willing to pay more money when you've got all these doubts about the implants. You're willing to put your body through more surgeries. Like, what are you doing? And basically, I just went through this cycle of trying to forget about it, then doing more research, finding more bad shit, worrying. And that went on for like 4 years, and I just put it off and off and off. I feel like the consequences of me not listening to my gut and having them out and having this worry like festering in my head, I felt insane. Because if you say this to someone, like I used to say it to my friends, like, oh, my implants have been associated with this cancer, blah blah blah. I even said it to my boyfriend, and the reaction is just get them out. And it took its toll on me. Like, these last 4 years, I feel like that mental worry and strain and just going and doing my research and seeing this negative stuff associated with the implants, it has took its toll on my mental health. When you don't listen to your gut and you don't act on what your gut is telling you, like that guiding voice that we all have that tells us the right thing to do, I feel like my body was in conflict. And as a result of that, I feel like it manifested into physical symptoms. My sleep was like really, really bad. And I've realized recently, but it's obvious, but I've really realized it recently because of changes in my sleep, from going to really bad sleep to better sleep. Getting a good quality night's sleep is just profound. And I was experiencing bad sleep like for years. And then that would mean in the day, I'd be super hungry all day. I'd be craving sugary food. I'd have no energy to like do my work. I couldn't concentrate. Also, I started developing another rash on my body. So I started getting dermatitis on this middle knuckle, and it got really bad. And I had the rash in my groin, the ringworm. Rashes on the skin, I feel like that is another sign from your body that something's not right. Your body's breaking down. Systems that keep your skin looking good and keep it rash free and keep it spot free, that was breaking down, because I feel like that energy was just going on me being like super stressed and worrying. I felt like I just wasn't thriving. I felt like I wasn't thriving at all. I feel like I was dragging myself through every day. Beginning of this year, I sat down with my boyfriend, and I was like, right, I'm going to write my goals for this year. One of my goals on this list was, after the first 2 quarters of 2023, so by the end of that second quarter, I have to have had my breast implants removed. I was like, I have to do it. But again, even though I wrote that down in January, it got to May this year, and I'd still not booked in for the surgery. And I look back on those goals and I was like, I need to do this. Like, my sleep's really bad. Like, my body just doesn't feel right. I was like, I have to do this. Like, I have to take this chance. And in my head, I'm thinking, but Gabrielle, you won't be able to cope mentally with how you look. You're going to have small boobs. You're going to have a meltdown. It's going to make you depressed. You're going to have big scars, or your boobs are going to come out deformed. How will you ever cope? In my head, I was just like, I just have to take that chance. I have to see if I can live without implants. If it so happens that I end up deformed or I cannot cope mentally with having small boobs and scars, there's always the option to save up and have them put in. Especially as well, while I'm still a bit younger, I feel like your skin bounces back more. And I was like, this is my chance. At one point, I was considering to have them replaced and put in with smooth implants. Because when I'd first found out about the first type of cancer, the ALCL, that cancer, as it stands, is just associated with textured implant. So at that point years ago, I was like, well, I can just have the textured ones taken out and replaced with smooth. And you know what? Actually, things work out for the right reasons and at the right time, because if I'd have done that then, I would then have had the smooth implants put in. But then in the last 2 years, that's when I've done more research and seen that it's come out about the second 2 types of cancers, and they're associated with all types of implants, including smooth implants. So now that I've seen that information, I think that was really pivotal, and me thinking, I just need to get them out. I'm not replacing them. I just need to try and get them out and live without them. So anyway, I think it was end of May time. I rang up the surgeon. I was like, I'm ready to go ahead with this. And literally I had a surgery day booked in 3 weeks. I barely told anyone. I think I told my parents, my sister knew, my boyfriend knew, and I think one of my friends knew, because I was just in the zone. I didn't want any distractions. I just felt like I just needed to keep it to myself. Something that I did in those 3 weeks was that I used to sit down and I used to repeatedly say to myself positive affirmations about the surgery. So I'd say to myself, I'd say it as if I'd already had the surgery done and that the results were amazing. So I'd say stuff to myself like, I've had my breast explant, the results are amazing. I'm so happy with the surgery. My boobs have turned out beautiful. The scars are perfect, they're neat, they're in the crease. And I said that repeatedly to myself for weeks. I'd say it on the way to work. I used to sit by the canal where I live, and the weather was nice at that time, so I'd sit on this little bench and I'd just like stare at the canal and say it to myself repeatedly. I actually did turn out to have really good results. So with manifestation, I do believe in manifestation to an extent. I don't know whether because I said that about my results, that's why they turned out so good, or whether it was just coincidence. But anyway, I'm glad that I did it. It put me in a good mindset for the surgery. So I had my surgery on the 30th of June. So how crazy is that? I wrote that down in my goals that I need to have it by the end of the second quarter, and I had it on the last day of the second quarter. I had the surgery in Wolverhampton. I had it with a surgeon called Dr Sterne. He's absolutely amazing. I only consulted with him. I went for 2 consultations with him over the last 2 years, and I instantly knew he was my guy. He's so professional, he's so sweet, so kind, and he's an expert in explant surgery. He must have done thousands of explant surgeries. He must be one of the best in the world. He's definitely one of the best in the UK. He does more explant surgeries now than he does implant surgery. And he promises to get all the capsule out, which was so important for me because I had the banned allergen implants. I think it's important to have all the capsule taken out anyway, because that capsule, like I said, your body forms that capsule scar tissue, and any nasties that come off, that break off the breast implant, go into that capsule. There is some debate online about having the full capsule taken out, and you don't necessarily need it taken out. My surgeon did recommend for me that I should have the capsule taken out, and I'm so glad that I had it all taken out, because now I just know it's all out and hopefully there's nothing to worry about. So I got what's called full capsulectomy done via the enbloc procedure. So the enbloc procedure just means that the surgeon takes out the implant in the capsule, in the scar tissue, all in one. And that's really important, because if they puncture the capsule, some of like the fluid and maybe like nasty bits can seep into your body. So he trims round the implant and capsule and takes that out whole as one. But that is a very specialised technique, and there's quite a few surgeons around the world that they won't do that surgery because they're just not experienced enough. So the day before my surgery, I made my way down to Wolverhampton. I stayed in a Premier Inn. Then in the morning, I made my way to the hospital. I checked in. Mr. Sterne came to see me. He assessed me. He made some markings on me for the surgery. Then the anaesthetist, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but They came in, it was a guy, he was super lovely. He asked me a few questions about my health. Mr. Sterne told me on the day he wasn't sure. There was 3 people scheduled for surgery. He said I definitely wasn't the last, but he was not sure if I was the first or the second. But anyway, I can remember this whole check-in, seeing Mr. Sterne, seeing the anaesthetist. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that word. This all happened super quick, and then literally I had my gown on, and then like 10 minutes later, this other guy came in who was like a member of the surgery team, and he was like, "Gabrielle, we're ready for your surgery." And I was like, oh my God. I was like, let me just text my boyfriend and my mum. So I quickly texted him, like, saying, "I love you, I'll message you when I wake up." Walked down to the surgery room with this guy, he was lovely. Went in the room that you go in before you go into the main surgery room. They give me the anaesthetic and a drip. At that point, I will say I was nervous. I was quite scared. I get quite nervous, like when I go in hospital and stuff like that, just around all the equipment and that. It can be quite daunting. But I was just like, I just got to do this. Like, I can't back out now. Do you know what I mean? I can't be like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm going home. Anyway, next thing I know, I'm waking up in recovery. I can remember I looked down at my boobs straight away, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm so grateful that I woke up. And I can remember the nurse was like, "You need to cover yourself up." I can remember I just had such a bad pain on my chest. Like literally I felt like my chest had been ran over by a train. I was like, oh my God, like my chest is hurting. But she gave me some morphine. The pain went away really quickly. I was wheeled up to my room. I had like a really nice room. It was quite simple, like that hospital, it's a bit dated, but it was lovely. It was super clean. Shortly after that, they gave me a bit of food, and I was on the phone to my boyfriend and my family. And I can remember I was on such a high. Like I don't know whether it was from the drugs, or I think it was a mixture of the drugs and just like euphoria. So proud of myself for going through with it. I think it was just been such a milestone. I've been putting it off for so long. It had been weighing me down for so long, this decision. And just to know that I'd finally done it, when at times it just felt impossible for me to go ahead with this surgery. I just couldn't believe it, and I was just absolutely buzzing. I looked in the mirror. I think I was expecting them to look like a car wreck, and they didn't at all. They looked absolutely fine. They had like plasters on them, on the incisions. The next day I went home, my dad picked me up, and I went to recover at my parents' for a week. After the 3rd day, I came off my pain medication. I recovered really quickly. Obviously, it's different for everyone. Some ladies I know that it takes a toll on them, the surgery, and they're like sofa bound for like a couple of weeks and they're in a lot of pain. For me, it was absolutely, I wouldn't say it was a breeze. It definitely wasn't a breeze, but I recovered quick. And I think I'd just put that down to, do you mean I try and look after my body. I exercise. I'd try and eat healthy. So I'd set myself up for a good, speedy recovery. I was back at work. I started working, to be honest, I started working from home after a few days. So I had my surgery on the Saturday, and then on the Wednesday, I started working from home. I worked from home for another week, and then I went back into the office on the 3rd week, and I was absolutely fine. On the post-op instructions, it says about, because I like to lift weights, so it said not to do any weights. I think it was for 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. I went and did a leg session after 3 weeks, but I did it super, super light. So I mean, like I was doing glute thrust with like a 5 kg dumbbell placed over my hips, like really, really light. But I just wanted to do some movement. I think sometimes when you're recovering from surgery, you're not doing much. I just wanted to get those endorphins pumping just to give me a little bit of a boost. I'd say the main thing with my recovery was the tiredness. So when I had my implants put in, bear in mind I was 10 years younger. I was in my early 20s. I can't remember being that tired. So when I had my implants in, I was actually back at work within like 5 days, which is crazy. Yeah, with this surgery for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I just if I exit, like even if I did something simple, like went to the shop and did a bit of like a walk into town, and then when I got back I'd be really, really tired. And I guess that's to be expected. Like it's quite an invasive surgery that I had. Like I said, the surgeon's scraping the implants off your rib cage, and I know that he goes all the way up here to like get them out, and so there's been a lot going on in this area. But by the way, the cost of my surgery was 6,205, or maybe it was 250. But I know since I had my surgery in June, it's gone up again. Like, it's crazy how fast the cost of surgery is going up. And it's not down to the doctor being greedy. I think it's the hospital fees. One reason I wish I'd had it done years ago is because it was about £4,000 like 2 years ago, and now it's going up to £7,000. But like I said, things work out at the right time for the right reasons. Even though I said I went back to the gym at 3 weeks and did legs, I didn't do any upper body. I didn't do any upper body for 5 weeks, and then I started, I think I had a week or two doing it quite light, like doing my shoulders, my arms and that quite light. But I got back into lifting like my heavy weights really quickly. Like as soon as that 6-week mark hit and I had my post-op consultation with Mr. Sterne, and he said like, you've got the go ahead to do your weights as you did them before, I was really surprised like how quickly like I just got back into it and recovered. So since the surgery, have I had any regrets about having the surgery? Definitely not. I feel like when you're recovering, you're quite vulnerable. I mean, you've just been through quite a big like traumatic surgery. I mean, you're at home in bed, you're not feeling your best, maybe you're not looking your best. I just feel like during that time you've got to be super kind to yourself. And I said that going into the surgery, I was like, if I have to have 6 weeks off the gym, I have to have 6 weeks off the gym. Like the last thing I need when I'm recovering is me beating myself up saying, Gabrielle, you need to get back to the gym, you're going to lose your progress. You just don't need that. Like, you just need to be super kind to yourself when you're recovering from surgery and just let your body heal. The only little blip that I had, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks in, I can remember one evening I just looked in the mirror and I don't know, I just felt like, oh, my boobs, they look a bit small, or I don't know, there was like a tiny, maybe like a little bit of pining for me to have bigger boobs again. But that was because I was tired. So I get this often in the evenings. Sometimes I can have negative thoughts, but it's because I'm tired. And I just say to myself, Gabrielle, shut up, get to bed early. In the morning, you'll feel fine. And guess what? I went to bed and in the morning, I was not having those thoughts about my boobs. Also, like a few weeks in, I can remember I went out with my boyfriend. We went for a drink. And I was sat there and I can remember looking round and I just felt like everyone had big boobs. And I was like, I said to my boyfriend, I was like, oh my God, everyone's got bigger boobs than me. But I think that was because I just had them out and I was just adjusting to it. So I was like noticing, I was like looking at other people's boobs. Now I don't notice that at all. If anything, I notice like quite a lot of girls who've got smaller chests like me. To say that what held me back from having these taken out was because I doubted how I'd be able to cope with this mentally. I have coped with it so well. And I think like even my family has been shocked. I feel like my mum, she was quite worried. She knows what I'm like and she was quite worried how I cope afterwards. And she just said she's so proud of me. But do you know what I think it boils down to? I did what my gut was telling me. Like I've aligned with what I know is right for me. And I just feel like now my body is more in harmony. And I just feel at peace. Like I just feel like peace and calm within my body. My body is absolutely thanking me now. So grateful for this. It's probably thinking, thank God you've got that shit out of your body. Just so glad that I don't have to worry about the implants, worry about the risks, worry about getting these cancers, worry about subtle things it might be doing to my body, thinking about having to save up for more surgeries, not having to put my body through a surgery, not having to go through a scary surgery. Like everything like that is just gone, and I just cannot tell you like what a relief it is. Like such a relief. And like sometimes I just catch myself in the day and I think about it and I'm just absolutely buzzing that I made this decision. Like I can't believe how happy I feel. Like this happiness that I've got now and contentment and buzz, it outweighs anything that the implants ever brought me. Like when I got my implants in, obviously I looked in the mirror, I thought they looked nice, but this feeling now, it's like it cannot be compared, and I just cannot believe it. So scars, so that was one of the other like driving factors, like the main factors that put me off getting an explant, because I was like, I'm gonna have these huge scars, they're gonna look super ugly, I'm not gonna be able to cope. So I'll show you my scars. So this is my scar. As you can see, like when I first had them done, the scar wasn't as red as this. It was like really fine. It wasn't red, but it's just part of the healing process with scars. They go a lot darker, they go red, they go a bit thicker, and then they fade. And this will just fade to a white line. And then these are my boobs, just with this, like, obviously there's not a huge amount there, but they're a nice shape. And I just really couldn't give a damn. I don't have big boobs, I just couldn't care at all. I cannot tell you how unbothered I am by the scars. Like, I'm just not bothered at all. Obviously I'll be happier when they've faded and they're a bit lighter, like that'll be great. But like, I'm not looking in the mirror every day being like, oh my God, look at these big ugly scars. Nothing. Like the relief from having the implants out, like I said, just outweighs anything. Who sees these on a day-to-day basis? Do you know what I mean? Like I see it when I look in the mirror, but I don't even pay much attention to it. Do you mean I'm clothed? Like when I'm at the gym, like even I went on holiday, I had actually I wore a costume because I just didn't want to get the sun. So that's one thing as well with these scars, you're not meant to get sun on them for 6 months. So I had my tapes on. I've recently taken the tapes off to let them breathe. But I had a costume on actually, but even if I had a bikini on, like you wouldn't be able to see those scars. And even if you could, like I just don't care. Like your health is just like the #1 important thing. So since having the implants out, have I seen any improvements in my body, mental, physical? Because I know there's a lot of ladies on these groups, they say, oh, I had this whole list of symptoms, and since I've had them taken out, such a thing has completely resolved. So the #1 thing that has resolved for me, that has had such a massive impact on my life, is that I've got better sleep. Previously, my sleep, I'd be able to get to sleep usually, but then I'd wake up about 2 in the morning, go to the toilet for a wee, and then I'd just be restless for the rest of the night. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be absolutely drained. I'd want to go to the gym in the morning, but I didn't have the energy, so I put it off. I'd get to work, I wouldn't be able to concentrate. I just feel so demotivated, like my mood would be low. I feel like I just felt down. I feel like I had more anxiety, and I think this was all sleep related. I'd be craving sugary stuff in the day. Like even when I'd just eaten my lunch and I'd eaten a big portion, I'd still be craving like chocolate and stuff. Then I'd eat stuff like that and I'd be like, why have I eaten that? It's just crap. And to be honest, I just felt like absolute shit. I just felt like I was just dragging myself through every day. And I just thought, this is no way to live. Since I've had my breast implants taken out, my sleep has been so much better. Like I said, this sense of calm and peace in my body, and knowing that decision has been made and it's gone, it has just brought me so much better sleep. I still wake up in the night for a week, but then when I go back to bed, when I get back in bed, I'm able to get back to sleep. I'm able to get up in the morning, go and do my gym sessions in the morning. I love going to the gym in the morning, just getting it out the way. Then in the afternoon, by the time I've finished work, I can just come home and chill. doing a gym session, feeling motivated and like energized for the gym. I'm not saying I feel motivated every day, but just having that energy to push myself more in the gym. Like I feel like for the last 4 years, I just feel like I've made no progress in the gym. Like a big driving factor behind that is just like my mental state. If you're not having good sleep, if you're not feeling energized, if you're not good mentally, I just feel like it's going to hinder your progress in the gym, and it's going to hinder your progress in maybe your career, just everything really. Like when I wake up in the morning, my eyes are brighter. I used to wake up like nearly every morning, my eyes would be dull, they'd be bloodshot. I feel like now I'm thriving, whereas before I just felt like I was just deteriorating. So mentally, obviously with the better sleep, but also just from making this decision, like having that worry festering in my mind all these years, like reading this awful stuff about these cancers and thinking that could potentially happen to me. What am I doing? Why am I putting vanity before my health? But I can't get them out. I'm trapped, blah, blah, blah. That just really wore me down mentally. My mental health, it just didn't feel good at all, and I feel like that has definitely improved. And it's just like now, instead of focusing my attention and energy on that, which was such a negative thing in my life, I can now put that energy and that attention towards bettering myself in life. Whereas before, I just feel like that was just sucking the life out of me. Also, another thing that I've noticed is that the ringworm rash in my groin has not come back since I had this surgery. So I had it done end of June, July, August, September. It's been 3 months and I have not had that ringworm rash since in my groin. I'm just so much happier. I've just got rid of that massive stress out of my life, and I feel like my body can now focus its energy and build its resilience back up, and things aren't breaking down in my body. I don't have a pain anymore on my left side because obviously the breast implants have been taken out. So I don't have that stabbing pain, that burning pain. That's also a relief, because every time that I used to get that stabbing pain, that burning pain, I was just like, my body's not happy, something's not right. My boobs have evened out as well. So because the capsular contraction made them uneven, now that the implants are out, my boobs have evened out, and I think they're just about on the same level now, which is great. The rash that I have on my middle knuckle, I think it's dermatitis. It's not completely gone. I'm going through a really good stage at the minute because it's not been there for weeks. So maybe now it is completely gone. So to conclude this video, something that I've learned from this whole experience, which I think has been profound, is that your gut is telling you to do something, but you've got so much fear. You never ever know what's on that other side if you just take that leap of faith and make that decision. For me, my gut was telling me, Gabrielle, get these implants out, like do it for your health, do it for your mental well-being, you've got to do it. But I was so scared, and I was associating making that decision with so many negative things. There was so much fear there, and it was holding me back from making that decision. And now that I'm on the other side, I've taken that leap, and there's so much happiness and so much relief and so many good things that have come out of this that I never ever expected. That I have surprised myself so much, and I just cannot believe it. I'm going to apply that to other things in my life now. So there might be some other things that where my gut is telling me something, like maybe, I don't know, work related in my career, and I'm scared to make that leap and take a chance and do something different because of the fear holding me back. But there could be so many beautiful things on that other side, on the other side of fear, so many opportunities. And I think that's a lesson that people could take away and apply to their life. It doesn't have to be about implants. It could be if you're in a bad relationship and your gut's telling you you need to make a change. You'd be better off without this person, but you've got that neediness for them. You're like, no, I can't let them go. I can't let this go. I've been with them for 10 years. You never know what's on that other side if you just made that decision and took that leap, and it could change your life completely. Like with me now, I feel like my gut, or that it's just that guiding voice that everyone has. And sometimes I think it's always telling me the right thing to do. And I think a lot of the times in life we ignore it. And if I choose to ignore it, I feel like my body reacts, and it reacts in like physical symptoms, because it's like conflicted and stressed, because it's like, you need to do this thing. This is for the best for you. This is the best thing for you. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And it's all this fear. So I feel like I need to listen to my gut, and I need to act on what my gut is telling me. I feel like that will put me in such a better position in life. I hope this information was helpful for you. If you are considering getting your breast implants removed, and like me, you're scared to death, you're paralysed with fear about the decision, I hope this inspires you that you can do it, and that amazing things can come out of it. And if you're someone who's considering breast implants, I hope that this video was informative for you. Like I said, I don't want to scare people. I just want to tell people the facts. If you watch this and you think, you know what, Gabrielle, I've heard what you've got to say, but I still want to get breast implants, that's fine. You do you. I just think there should be more awareness about some of the negatives associated with breast implants. And I just want people to be fully informed. Like, for example, with smoking, people are fully informed of the negatives associated with smoking. Like, people are fully aware, but people still choose to smoke, and that's fine, but at least they're fully aware. And obviously with breast implants, like, so many women have them in, and there's some women who are like, I'm perfectly fine, like, my breast implants, I love them, they're not causing me any health issues. I mean, you look online, you look at people, they've got breast implants, they look really happy, and you think, oh, they're not having any health issues. They seem super happy, like celebrities and that, they've had implants for years and years and they're fine. And I believe there's people that probably do get to a ripe old age with breast implants, and maybe they've not got any health issues. Dolly Parton, she's had God knows how many breast implants she's had put in, and she seems absolutely fine. But then at the same time, we don't know her health history, do you know what I mean? So maybe she's got some things going on that could be associated with breast implants. Thank you for listening, and if you've got any questions, just put them in the comments below. Thank you.